Hello everyone, my name is Elite Trainer Kenway, and I just came to the realization that I'm not giving you guys a new theory to chew on since Pokemon Scarlet Violet launched back in November. So I'm here to fix that today in the best way I know how. Today we're going to discuss 5 Paldean mini theories that don't yet have enough weight to merit their own video. So without any further ado and in no particular order, let's get started with theory number 1. Paldea is the only region that we know of so far where natural ingredients can be put into artificial machines to create breakable TMs. Now this is where the theory gets interesting. The only regions that use breakable TMs are Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Paldea, and Galar. Given that Galar is the only region that sells breakable and unbreakable TMs, I believe that Paldea creates TMs to sell to Galar as well as all of the Japanese regions. Someone in Galar has figured out how to reinforce these TMs and sell them as permanent non-breakable TMs to the Unova region, the Kalos region, and the Alolan region. And given that these 3 regions don't have any breakable TMs, it makes sense that these 3 regions do not trade with the Paldea region. As a matter of fact, it's entirely possible that Paldea refuses to trade with Unova, Kalos, and Alola because they buy the unbreakable TMs from Galar instead of buying the breakable TMs from the Paldea region. Right then, on to number 2. There's a book in the Naranja and Uva Academy that shows 2 creatures, one that looks like an amalgamation of Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, and the other that looks like an amalgamation of the legendary Swords of Justice from the Unova region. The expedition researcher who sketched these 2 drawings simply took the description from other researchers who saw the other 6 beasts and drew them as if there were only 2 beasts. This one's kind of hard to explain, so bear with me. Say there are 3 researchers out on an expedition. Researcher A sees an Entei, Researcher B sees a Suicune, Researcher C sees Raikou. They all go back to their camp and describe the beast that they saw to the only researcher who knows how to sketch Pokemon, and they all describe a powerful 4-legged beast. The researcher then takes descriptions from all 3 of these people who saw 3 different Pokemon, assume that all 3 of the descriptions fit the same Pokemon, and drew one Pokemon to match all 3 descriptions. We know how Entei, Raikou, and Suicune were created. They were created by Ho-Oh after the fire in the burned tower in the Johto region. There is no lore anywhere in the Johto region that suggests there's a 4th legendary beast, and there's no lore anywhere in the Unova or Galar region to suggest that there's a 4th Swords of Justice. So, these 2 Pokemon, they're not real. They never existed, they don't exist, and they never will exist. Unfortunately, we will never be able to catch these 2 Pokemon because they simply aren't real. Right, on to theory number 3. Some of the region's starter Pokemon are genetically engineered fake Pokemon. The clues are absolutely there if you know where to look. Now, first things first, note that I said some starter Pokemon are genetically engineered fake Pokemon. Not all of them. The reason that we know this is that these 3 families of Pokemon existed out in the wild of the Sinnoh region before civilization had arrived. Now, we know that humanity can both create and genetically alter Pokemon. But why do I think that most starters were genetically engineered? It's simple. You can't find starter Pokemon in the wild. The only starter Pokemon that you can find in the wild, not counting the Grand Underground and BDSP, are Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And even those 3 starters aren't native to the Kanto region. We have been to 9 different Pokemon regions, and we have not found a single region in which any of the starter Pokemon are actually native to those regions, aside from the Sinnoh starters in the Hisui region. Don't you guys find it a little odd that we have never come across a modern Pokemon region where these starters actually live in the wild? Now, I want you to keep that fact in your mind while I describe a few starter Pokemon to you. A frog that's learned to stand up on 2 legs, wear its tongue like a scarf, and create water shurikens to throw at its enemies. A cat that has learned how to stand up on 2 legs, wears a belt made of fire, and partakes in professional wrestling. A lizard that creates a sniper rifle out of water. A gorilla that evolves with a drum created from a hollowed out tree. A football playing rabbit. A singing alligator that comes with its own microphone. A cat that naturally evolved to become a court jester. These Pokemon did not evolve this way naturally in the wild. These are genetically engineered fake Pokemon created to fulfill a specific task. Okay, admittedly, that was a pretty silly one. But let's talk about my favorite theory of this entire video at number 4. Why is it my favorite theory? Because it deals with one of my favorite Pokeballs, the Premier Ball. The Premier Ball was introduced in Generation 3 with Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and since then it's been in every single mainline Pokemon game. Even though it's been around for 20 years, no one has ever seemed to be able to figure out exactly what this ball was created for. But I think Scarlet Violet gives us a few clues. When you're riding around Mesa Goza City, you'll see some balloons that are fashioned to look like Premier balls. Director Clavel also famously only carries around Premier balls. Putting 2 and 2 together, I believe that Clavel was given the director's position at Naranja and Uva Academy over 20 years ago, and that these Premier balls were created in commemoration of Naranja and Uva Academy's first ever treasure hunt under Director Clavel, and that thousands and thousands and thousands of Premier balls were sent all across the world in order to promote Naranja and Uva Academy's treasure hunt. After which, of course, the small Pokemon shop owners just gave them away to kids, having no idea why these balls were sent to them in the first place. Alright, on to my final theory, the one that has the most meat on its bones, and the one that almost became its own video. I believe that the Pokemon League in Paldea is in serious financial trouble, that Gita knows this, and that Gita is either severely underpaying her gym leaders and Elite Four members, or even worse, is not paying them at all. This is the first generation that we've had where every single gym leader that we come across has had some sort of secondary job. Think about it. All 8 of these gym leaders have another job. You've got a baker, an artist, a VTuber, a chef, a businessman, a musician, a model, and a retired professional snowboarder. All of Paldea's gym leaders have some sort of secondary job, with the sole exception of Grusha, who probably lives off the insurance money he got from the accident, which forced him to retire from snowboarding. Not only that, but out of all 8 of these gym leaders, none of them consider the gym to be their first job. Not a single one of them is actually at their gym when you arrive. Not a single one of them considers the gym to be their primary responsibility. Most of these gym leaders don't even enjoy Pokemon battling in the first place. A sentiment that rings painfully clear when you go to challenge Larry, a gym leader who absolutely does not care at all about Pokemon battling. And despite the fact that we know Larry does not care about Pokemon battling at all, is forced to fight as an Elite Four member by Gita, probably because the last Elite Four member quit. And that brings us to our last sad fact about the Paldean Pokemon League, the fact that they have a literal toddler battling as an Elite Four member. I strongly believe that both Larry and Poppy were thrown into the Elite Four by Gita because 2 members of the Elite Four quit after realizing they were no longer being paid, and that Hansel and Rika probably stayed around because they genuinely enjoy Pokemon battling. Consider the fact that none of the gyms in Paldea allow you to ascend past the lobby, and the fact that the Pokemon League itself only has one usable room, a plain white room with no decorations, no statues, no customization of any kind. It's just a plain white room where all 4 of your Elite Four battles take place. The Paldean Pokemon League seems to be nearly, if not completely broke, running on bare bones. But the question is why? Why is the Paldean Pokemon League the only Pokemon League that we know of that is struggling so bad? Is Gita that bad at mismanaging the company's finances? I don't think so. I think the person responsible for the Paldean Pokemon League's serious financial dire straits is actually Penny. Penny? Cassiopeia? The leader of Team Star? Whatever you want to call her, she has almost completely destroyed the entire Paldean Pokemon League. The entire Paldea region has 2 forms of currency: regular Poké Dollars and League Points. Regular Poké Dollars is basically just like cash. It's regular currency that's accepted and traded across every other region in the Pokemon world. League Points, however, are a digital cryptocurrency created in and for the Paldea region specifically. The problem with League Points is that if someone is able to figure out how to hack into the system and uncontrollably create more and more League Points to spend, then the value of League Points themselves will slowly get lower and lower and lower to the point where League Points are virtually worthless. And if you haven't figured out where I'm going with this yet, let me walk you through it. At the end of the Team Star storyline, Penny tells you that not only is she Cassiopeia, but the money that she's been giving you as Cassiopeia in League Points was stolen money from the Pokemon League. Penny hacked into the League system and essentially created more virtual currency. Now, Penny never tells you how much money she took from the Pokemon League or how long she's been taking money from the Pokemon League, but let me ask you this. Where do you think Team Star got the money to fund their bases, their cars, their outfits, and everything else that they had. The reason that Clive got involved in putting a stop to Team Star is because Penny has been bleeding the Pokemon League dry. You ever wonder why you can't exchange League points for actual Poké Dollars? Is because League points aren't actually worth anything. I believe that the Pokemon League building itself is hollow for the same reason that you can't go above the first floor in any of the gyms across Paldea. Because Penny has been bleeding the Pokemon League dry and Gita simply cannot afford to keep paying her employees. So that's pretty much it. These were 5 mini theories that I thought didn't warrant their own separate video, so I wanted to put them all together in one video. Let me know what you guys think. Which theory did you like the best? Which theory didn't you like? What do you think about the format of mini theories? I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I expect to have a really fun surprise video for you guys next Tuesday. Peace.